Why are university campuses lined with guard posts? What are they afraid of? Here is Jersey's news commentary channel. Today, Chinese university campuses look less and less like public spaces of knowledge, and more like fortified cities of learning, wrapped layer upon layer in iron gates, access controls, guard booths, QR scans, registration desks, and identity checks. Many people have already grown used to it. You need facial recognition to enter. Visitors require prior approval. Outsiders are stopped at the gate, and even students returning late to their own dorms are forced to explain, where did you go? Who did you meet? Why are you back so late? It feels exactly like prisoners being interrogated. Yet they all have one grand and legitimate justification. All of this is for campus safety. But is it really for campus safety? If safety were truly the only reason, then why do the world's top universities present the exact opposite picture? Universities such as Harvard University, Stanford University, and Yale University have long kept their public areas open to society. Many sections do not even have walls in the traditional sense, apart from core spaces such as laboratories, dormitories, and libraries that require authorization. Campus roads, lawns, plazas, and the surroundings of academic buildings are themselves part of the social world. Chinese media once specifically discussed this phenomenon. Why do world-class universities often have no walls? Because openness is an essential attribute of the freedom at the heart of academic spirit. Does that mean Western universities have no security crises? Of course not. Campus shootings, social violence, and extreme incidents in the United States are far from rare. The risks objectively exist. But their logic of dealing with risk is not to turn the entire university into a prison. Instead, they limit security governance to genuinely high-risk zones, rather than sealing off the entire campus. Behind this lies two fundamentally different civilizational understandings between China and the West. One believes in order within openness. The other is obsessed with safety through enclosure. Today, the forest of guard posts across Chinese universities and even primary and secondary schools looks increasingly like a birdcage, even a prison. What is truly worth asking is this: if campus safety really must rely on closure, then why were Chinese universities also broadly open from the early years of reform and opening through the first decade of this century? When our generation attended university, campuses were almost part of the city's public life. Couples could stroll freely. Residents could walk through, sightsee, and even treat universities as tourist attractions. People from surrounding neighborhoods came in for exercise. Students from other schools could sit in on lectures. Thoughts, information, and human interaction all existed in a naturally flowing state. So why was there none of today's anxiety of defenses everywhere? Why was there no atmosphere where every rustle of wind sounds like danger and every blade of grass looks like an enemy? The answer is simple. It is not that risk did not exist in the past. It is that society as a whole was then in a relatively healthy condition. This socially pathological climate of extreme tension first blew out of Zongnanhai. It first spread from Xi Jinping's own dark psychology of layered defenses. Externally, he hunts spies. Internally, he launches purges. For more than a decade, the anti-corruption campaign has never stopped. Yet the more it fights corruption, the more corruption seems to grow. In just the past 2 years alone, millions of officials of all ranks have reportedly been detained or investigated. Xi's purpose is not anti-corruption, but purging. Xi-style great purges are, in some ways, no less severe than Stalin's. His purges have made everyone fearful, everyone defensive. This is the deepest social psychological root behind the guard posts now standing everywhere across university campuses. As for actual public security risks, yes, they have indeed shown signs of increasing sharply in the past 2 years. The economic downturn is growing harsher. The army of the unemployed is swelling like a tidal wave. The wealth gap is heaven and earth apart. Social classes are increasingly rigid. Young people's opportunities are collapsing. Violent revenge incidents occur repeatedly. The entire society is filled with a deep unease. But this deeper social unease is, in fact, unrelated to the university campus itself. The guard posts lining Chinese campuses today are not really the transmission of public security danger into universities. Rather, they are a projection and metaphor of the overall darkening and terrorization of China's political society. See one campus, and you glimpse the whole society. At a deeper level, this closure is not merely a logic of public security. It is a logic of thought control. Just imagine in a classroom dense with surveillance cameras, on a campus crowded with guard posts, how could genuine freedom of thought possibly emerge? Of course there will be even less scientific innovation. What does scientific innovation rely on? It relies on accidental encounters. It relies on interdisciplinary collisions. It relies on free exchange among strangers. It relies on the wandering of thought through open spaces. If the most striking sight on a university campus is not the library, not the laboratory, not the lawn, but rows of guard booths, layers of turnstiles, and fences everywhere, then the psychological signal it sends is unmistakable. Order above thought, management above exploration, prevention above creation. An environment like this does not cultivate innovators, it produces only compliant bricks. Recently, a video by Professor Zhang Yuhuang comparing the gates of Harvard University with those of Tsinghua University and Peking University received tens of millions of views online. That alone proves that the public is not really interested in campus gates themselves. They are using the gates as a way to discuss the broader trend of China's overall social enclosure. What truly shocks people is not why Harvard is open or why Tsinghua is locked. It is this: why were we once open too, yet now increasingly resemble fortresses, Shinju prisons? Of course, behind all this lies an even deeper cultural psychology. Chinese society has always had a strong mentality of courtyard culture. High walls, grand gates, deep compounds, strict distinctions between inside and outside, rigid hierarchy, and rules about who may enter and who may not. These have formed a spatial political tradition lasting thousands of years. From the imperial palace to the yamen, from clan compounds to work unit courtyards, from government family compounds to today's university fences, the essence is the same cultural gene: to build order on boundaries, and to build power on separation. This psychological tradition of building enclosed domains determined that what China historically excelled at was not openness, but wall building. Walls protected power. They also suffocated civilization. That is why Chinese history keeps circling within imperial cycles, yet finds it difficult to naturally grow the open soil required for a modern scientific community. In the final analysis, what these campuses fear today is no longer some external risk. What they fear is the transmission and unpredictability of broader social crises. They fear easy human connections and exchanges. They fear linkages between universities, and above all, they fear that once the walls disappear, universities may once again become gathering places of thought, perhaps even the source and distribution center of another student movement like 1989. When the most powerful thing on a campus is no longer thought, but the access control system, what it is guarding may not be safety at all. It may be the increasingly fragile inner psyche of an era. And what it imprisons is not merely the flow of people, but the free and unrestrained movement of the human mind itself.